Hey guys, this is Anthony Carey. I am the creator of the Core-Tex, and I am CEO of Reactive Training, who brings the Core-Tex to the world. What I want to share with you is a little bit about the value and the benefits of reactive training and reactive variability and what it means to your ability to improve the quality of motion of your clients, of how you can increase performance, how you can reduce the risk of injury, how you can use novel and engaging movements and motions that the Core-Tex helps you to create and really keep your clients engaged. Let's say you want to work on mobility with your client. Even if we're thinking three-dimensional, we tend to just work on mobility sagittal, frontal, transverse. But what about all the different vectors in between? So when I have a platform that allows me to both rotate, tilt, and translate that slide all at the same time, I can access different vectors in that tissue constantly, and I can actually seek out what I'm looking for. So for example, if I'm working on my two-joint hip flexor, and I'm here on the Core-Tex, and generally the only thing that we do is move forward this way into hip extension, I can do that with a little pre-stretch, but now I can actually take the Core-Tex and work at all these different vectors and find my personal needs through this. As I'm doing this, I'm also lengthening and loading at the same time. So neurologically, I've got to control that. Circulatory-wise, where we've got fluids pumping through the tissue, and neurologically, I'm also increasing the proprioceptive awareness of all these different positions. And we can also use the variability of the platform to stress the body and provide those opportunities through lifts. For example, if I'm standing on the Core-Tex and I'm doing an exercise, let's say I'm going to do a row, a single arm row. As I move through the process like this, as the platform changes, so does my pelvic position. If my pelvic position changes, so does my thoracic spine and so does my rib cage. If that changes, so does my shoulder girdle and the relationship to the rib cage. So as we're moving through the different repetitions as we're doing this, and the platform underneath me continually changes, so does the stimulus, the stresses, the motor unit response throughout the system as I take it through various motions like a row. Guys, as you can see, the Core-Tex is an environment. So depending on how you program it, what traditional variables that you like to use with the Core-Tex is part of the response that you're going to elicit. None of this happens in a vacuum. If I'm doing something that looks like it's a stability, I'm probably challenging my core. If I'm using the motion of the platform, I'm probably getting after some mobility things at the same time. The entire time, I'm always working on neuromuscular efficiency because my body gets a little bit better, a little bit more acquainted with the platform. Reactive variability, reactive training are tremendous values to creating a more resilient, robust, dynamic system, our bodies, to be able to handle the many demands that we face on a regular basis, whether we're prepared for it or not. Thank you for listening.